Welcome to episode number 41. I'm CJ Wellerman. Thank you for joining us. In this week's episode, we take a deep dive into the Biden administration's morally unconscionable move to steal Afghanistan's money while millions of Afghan women and children starve to death. But first, a quick reminder to click on the subscribe button below so you don't miss out any future episodes. Now let's get into it. Last week, President Biden announced his intention to deny the Afghan people half of the $7 billion it stole from Afghanistan's central bank, and then hand their stolen cash to victims of the September 11 attacks. I mean, this is so disgustingly messed up that it bears worth repeating. So here it goes. As Afghan women and children starve and freeze to death because of a lack of Afghan government funds, the United States is stealing $3.5 billion from them and then giving this money to victims of the 9/11 attack. My God, neither Afghanistan nor a single Afghan person had anything to do with the 9/11 attacks whatsoever. I mean, haven't the Afghan people suffered enough already under the weight of vicious American cruelty? This is a country the US bombed and occupied for 20 years, committing all kinds of war crimes and atrocities against Afghan civilians, but now wants to prolong their agony by stealing billions of dollars, money that should be used to rebuild their shattered lives and broken country. The Afghan people are the victims here, not the families of those killed 20 years ago on 9/11. Remembering this is a country the United Nations has described as the worst humanitarian crisis it has ever seen. That it has ever seen. In fact, 23 million Afghans now face extreme hunger. The situation's so dire that parents are selling their organs on the black market to feed their families. Play the clip.
They've all sold their kidneys to survive. The organ trade isn't new in Afghanistan, but it's just got more desperate. Every single person here is hungry, and poverty is driving already poor people to even more extreme measures.
Worse, poor families are selling their very young daughters into marriage to raise money for desperately needed food and medical supplies. Watch.
The youngest in her father's arms is a 7-month-old baby given in lieu of medical bills. The girls have no say. This in one of Afghanistan's poorest villages. And the deprivation here means girls are being sold into marriage earlier and more often. There's not enough room in the tent for all the parents who want to show us their young daughters they've sold. We don't want to sell them, she says, but we're poor and we have to eat.
Their lives are being made measurably worse by freezing winter conditions and the Taliban's move to ban women from work. Roll it.
After 20 years of war, Afghanistan faces a long, harsh winter and a cold and hungry peace. Victorious, the Taliban now guard food queues. More than half the country is going hungry. Women, barred from work and education, have lost another fundamental right, the ability to feed their families.
But the greater villain here is the United States and its Western allies, which have not only stolen the country's assets, but also imposed crippling sanctions on the country to punish the Taliban-controlled government. In other words, tens of millions of innocent Afghan people are being subjected to collective punishment, which constitutes a bona fide war crime. But then again, since when has the US ever cared about the people it starves to death? I mean, let's not forget President Clinton starved 500,000 Iraqi women and children to their agonizing deaths via crippling economic sanctions in the 1990s, a move the US justified by saying, and I quote, "it was worth it." Here's former US State Secretary Madeleine Albright in 1996. Play.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
No doubt, future former Biden administration officials will also claim starving millions of Afghan children was worth the price for punishing the Taliban. Why? Because sanctions and stealing Afghanistan's money is driven wholly and solely by one criminal and vindictive motive: revenge. This is American vengeance against a ragtag militia that resisted, humiliated, and vanquished the United States Armed Forces, the most powerful military the world has ever known. And nobody was more humiliated by the disastrous US withdrawal from Afghanistan than President Biden, which was the moment his popularity and political agenda began to unravel. Roll it.
Looking at the dates there, Steve, August 14 to 17, that's really when things were just collapsing rapidly in Afghanistan. But do we have a feel for how much Afghanistan has impacted the approval rating here?
Yeah, that's the other piece of it. So if we say COVID, the economy for a year and a half have been the big issues. For about a week and a half now, it's been Afghanistan. And this poll was sort of being taken as this was playing out. Well, here, you give you a sense of it. Biden's handling of Afghanistan. We asked about that in the poll, and you see that is way, way upside down there. 60% say they disapprove of that. I think.
Humiliated and vengeful, Biden is stealing money from a country the US invaded, bombed and occupied for 20 decades, while its children suffer agonizing deaths. All for the purpose of scoring political points at home, an act that meets the literal definition of terrorism, therefore making Biden a global terrorist. But as we all know too well, US war criminality always goes unpunished. And when the International Criminal Court moved 2 years ago to open an investigation into alleged war crimes committed by all armed forces in Afghanistan, including the Taliban, the US government slapped sanctions on ICC judges. Go.
We will let the ICC die on its own. After all, for all intents and purposes, the ICC is already dead to us. Judges and prosecutors from entering the United States. We will sanction their funds in the U.S. financial system, and we will prosecute them in the U.S. criminal system.
But the US has an opportunity to finally do the right thing by the Afghan people. This is about a choice between what is morally right and what is morally wrong. And that choice is simple. The US can continue to punish and kill millions of innocent Afghan people, leaving the country destroyed forever, or it can do what is needed to keep them alive with or without the Taliban. You see, the US could easily put in place a system that grants the Taliban government access to funds on a monthly payment basis, and then track and monitor the use of these funds, making sure they're being used to meet the humanitarian and socioeconomic needs of the Afghan people. And if at any stage the Taliban misuses this money, then the US could suspend future payments, therefore encouraging good governance from the Taliban. Doing this would also generate goodwill among the Afghan people towards the US and its allies, therefore limiting the appeal of violent extremist groups such as Al-Qaeda and ISIS, while also putting a dent in the flow of Afghan refugees towards European and Asian borders. Clearly, this is a win-win for everyone, but the ball is now in President Biden's court. So please join me in signing a petition that calls on the president to change course. I will share the link on social media. The Afghan people need our humanity and compassion, not cold-hearted Old Testament vengeance. Anyway, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to this channel and help spread the word with your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we kindly ask you please support this endeavor by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWellerman. We can't produce, sustain, and grow the show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, or good day, wherever you are, and stay blessed.